Greetings to my enlightened friends and my ignorant enemies. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I have noticed that here on BookTube, no one talks about how writing lyrics is very much a related skill to writing anything else. If you can write a good song in terms of the lyrics, if you can write good lyrics, you can probably write a good story, or at least write well in general. It's a very translatable skill. You have these songs that tell stories in very poetic language, and these stories draw us in, not just because of the way the music is and the way the lyrics are sang, but because of the lyrics themselves. There are songs that are iconic, and they just wouldn't be iconic the same way they are if you didn't have the same lyrics. And you can say that about so many classics. Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi is a great example. Another one would be For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica, Them Bones by Alice in Chains, Crazy on You by Heart, and so many more. Lyrics can make a legendary song. If you can write good lyrics, you can probably write good prose, because it's about mastery of poetic language. It's about evoking imagery in the mind and using powerful words to paint a picture. Even for people who aren't visual thinkers, if they read something that's visually provocative, that just paints the most clear image, even non-visual thinkers will see that picture in their mind. They'll be transported to it. And so it's an invaluable skill to have. So, here on my channel, on Mondays, every now and then, we're going to start uploading a video talking about a song. Today, we're starting with a song that is less about imagery, and in fact, the lyrics weren't by the artist, they were by a philosopher by the name of Alan Watts. The song is called Overthinker. It's an EDM song, and it uses this famous lecture by the philosopher Alan Watts about overthinking. And I'm starting off with this one because it's profoundly relevant to my own work. The idea of delving too deep into thinking and having it drive you mad, and having so many of mankind's woes be the result of overthinking and overcomplicating and creating useless thought constructs. My own work touches on those themes. And so when I heard this song and the brilliant analysis by Mr. Watts, I instantly was drawn to it, and I wanted to talk about it. So, let's do it.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So, he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. By thoughts, I mean specifically chatter in the skull, perpetual and compulsive repetition of words, of reckoning and calculating. I'm not saying that thinking is bad. Like everything else, is useful in moderation. A good servant, but a bad master. And all so-called civilized peoples have increasingly become crazy and self-destructive because, through excessive thinking, they have lost touch with reality. That's to say, we confuse science with the real world.
We confuse signs with the real world. Reckoning and calculating. Perpetual repetition of words. All of these things have profound meaning to me in my own mental health and my work as an artist and a writer. It's no secret that people can drive themselves crazy by creating worlds around themselves. It's no secret that people love to wrap themselves in all kinds of delusions. Narcissists are known for it. And everyone has a tendency to create some slightly askew version of their own little planet Earth. And that is a fun thing to think about and consider. What is the nature of reality? What is objective reality versus subjective reality? Is it all relative? Is there objective reality? I personally believe there is. I personally believe that a rock is a rock, no matter what you call it. You can call a rock a rose. You can call a rock a fish. It's still a rock. The name you give it doesn't change it. What you call something doesn't make it anything different. And I believe that extends to everything. Moral evils are still moral evils, regardless of whether or not you're taught that it's evil. Raping someone is evil, regardless of whether or not you grew up in a culture that says it's okay to rape people. Same with killing people, same with stealing. The fact of the matter is that humans are a tragically malleable animal, and so we often grow up in environments where things are taught to us that simply are not real, are not true. But I believe there is divine, immutable truth. I believe that some things simply are. A rock is a rock. Evil is evil. And wrapping yourself in dangerously over-complex thought constructs inevitably leads to madness.
This is the beginning of meditation. Most of us would have rather money than tangible wealth, and a great occasion is somehow spoiled for us unless photographed. And to read about it the next day in the newspaper is oddly more fun for us than the original event. This is a disaster. For as a result of confusing the real world of nature with mere science, we are destroying nature. We are so tied up in our minds that we've lost our senses. Time to wake up. What is reality? Obviously, no one can say, because it isn't words. It isn't material, that's just an idea. Reality is...
Reality is. It's immutable. It's here. You can touch it. You can feel it. You can see it. But as I was just hinting on, when we start trying to define it, it gets a little bit harder, doesn't it? And that's where humans begin to drive themselves into these knots and tangles. Because one person has an idea of what reality is, and he has to convince other people that his idea is right. We have to get enough of people to agree on an idea before it's accepted that that idea properly defines the reality. Everyone agrees a rock is a rock, but when it comes to more complex and abstract ideas, it begins to get much harder to convince a large number of people to accept objective reality, doesn't it? So many of the problems in the modern world come from charlatans, false prophets, and liars, deceivers, convincing us that falsehoods are in fact reality. And we instinctually know better, but we let them deceive us for various reasons, whether it's socially popular, whether they're bribing us to accept the lie, whether there's some kind of other complex relation to other thought constructs that makes us want to believe yet another lie. But so many of us do. It drives us insane. It makes it impossible to know what is truly real. And shortly after we lose touch with reality, we lose touch with ourselves.
The point cannot be explained in words. I'm not trying to put you down. It's an expression of you as you are. One must live. We need to survive, to go on. We must go on.
I love that ending. We must go on. As I said, I wanted to discuss this particular piece of philosophy over EDM because the bit of philosophy discussed in this lecture is profoundly relevant to my own life and my own work. And I think it's an important message for everyone to hear. In future Music Mondays, we'll more so be focusing on storytelling and song lyrics, not philosophy lectures that were co-opted to be an EDM song. But I wanted to start with this one because thematically, it's highly relevant to my own work. And in regards to my own work, stay tuned on the channel. Big news coming soon. It's nearly time. See you guys next time.